sweet friends, and welcome back to another look at what we've been eating around here. I hope today you get some good inspiration. We certainly had some good meals. Let's start off with this one. I am grating up some cucumber on my little handy dandy little grater there. I looked for tzatziki sauce today at the grocery store. This was my grocery day. And I went to 2 grocery stores and neither one had it. So I had a solution of my own, and let me tell you, it did not disappoint. So I just basically grated up the small garden fresh from our son Gunner and Abigail's garden, grated that up, and I'm going to add that to my French onion dip. I had about half a container in the refrigerator, knew I had that, and I thought, okay, I'm going to improvise and make my own. And I'm just, instead of laying my cucumber out on the paper towel to drain, I'm just squeezing out the liquid, and I just added that in there to, again, about 8 ounces of French onion dip. Now I'm going to go in with some garlic and some dill to add a little bit more seasoning to that. And like I said, this was delicious. I am not even kidding. We enjoyed this so much, not only with tonight's meal, but later as a dip with some vegetables because there was some left. It did not disappoint. I would make this again just for a dip. It was that good. So here it is, all thick and seasoned up, delicious, and ready to go with tonight's meal. From my freezer, I pulled out this bag of gyro meat. This came from Costco. In the bag that you purchased came 2 of these packages like you see now. So one we've already finished. I wanted to finish off the other one. I also purchased today at the grocery store some mini naan. I looked for some pita, but they didn't have any. So I got the naan bread, and honestly, that and the dip, that was some of our favorite parts. So we were so glad that the grocery store didn't have the 2 things that I was looking for, because it made a great meal with the 2 things that we improvised with. All right, I'm showing you there a big bottle of olives. I made us up a Greek salad, or at least my version of it, using what I had on hand. Some fresh lettuce, some tomatoes diced up, some olives, some white onion, and then I used the Olive Garden Italian dressing, some feta cheese on top, and then a little bit of a sprinkle of dill. Everything that we had tonight, we just kept saying, this is so good, this is so good. Then we would have the next thing, and this is so good. James is a big fan of a Greek salad. I need to make them more often for him, but I just kind of forget. But they are just so tangy and delicious. All right, the meat, it cooks up literally in no time. I had already thawed this out in my refrigerator through the day while I was at the grocery. Just throw it in the skillet. You don't do another thing to it. Get it all warmed up, kind of fried up however you like it. And then the naan bread. So I'm going with my sauce here on top of the naan bread. This is the garlic naan. So flavorful and delicious. And then I'm going to top that with my gyro meat. Along with our gyro and our salads, I just did some air fryer sweet potato fries, and this may have been our favorite meal of the week. My goodness, you guys, I had this beautiful quart of homemade chicken stock. I forgot to show you guys before I poured it in here. I just in here busy this morning already and forgot I was going to show you guys that. I'm making chicken and dumplings for dinner tonight because tonight's family night. Let me show you my chicken I've got here. This is a big, deep container. These are all chicken thighs that I cooked in my slow cooker, cooled down, took all the bones and skin off, and now we've got this delicious big batch of chicken. I want these to be very hearty with chicken as well, because this will be the meat source for tonight. In the dumplings, I'm not making any other kind of meat to go with it, so I wanted there to be plenty of meat in here. All right, in goes my chicken into the broth, and then I'm going to add some seasoning here and more water along with some dry chicken base to make the rest of the broth that I need. I'm not going to fill the kettle completely to the brim, of course, because I've got to have some room for those dumplings to go in. But you want to get your chicken, your seasonings. I'm just using garlic powder, some black pepper, parsley, no salt because the chicken base is salty, so you don't want to over salt. So you want to get that in there and get this up to a rolling boil before the dumplings go in. Okay, this is the cookbook that I use for my dumplings. This is a sweet lady that I used to go to church with. This is her cookbook, and so there's some really good recipes in here. All right, here we go, and I have made a note over here saying that I double this for my yellow kettle that I use. So super simple ingredients, and that's what's awesome about dumplings and why they were probably such a staple food through the years, because it took super easy ingredients and convenient ingredients that people usually had or have, and you just pull together something so wonderful. So let's get started. Okay, and that's about what you're looking for. I use my cookie scoop to scoop these up and put them in the broth, which works so perfectly. Everyone kind of, I don't know, has their own kind of dumpling that they grew up on or prefer. My husband loves more dense, chewy dumpling. I like a little bit more of a fluffy dumpling. And that comes from like adding egg or the thinness of the dumpling itself. All of those things can affect how the dumpling turns out. That doesn't make this hard or tricky. It just means different people have different preferences, and that's how they make it. Okay, here's my handy dandy cookie scoop. Got a good rolling boil, and you just start dropping. All right, I'm gonna keep filling up this kettle. All right, first round is in the pot. And with dumplings, you don't wanna do anything real wild and crazy when you're stirring them or stir them much at all. They're just like little pillows of wonderfulness. So you want to, you want to be gentle in here. So you don't want to break them apart. So I usually just kind of move them around like this. And I usually don't put a lid on them. I just let them cook like this so I can watch them. Okay, here we go. We got a good rolling boil, and you can already see what beautiful thick gravy this is making. Look at that. Oh my goodness, so good. The dumplings are about that size. And of course there is just a big old bunch of chicken down here in the bottom. Yeah, there's a little one in there. Sometimes, they do break apart. You get some smaller ones. Oh wow, this looks delicious. Okay, you guys, sometimes it's a little scary to experiment in the kitchen because you don't really know what the outcome is going to be. So you're like, I don't know, should I just stick with what I'm doing or try something new? So here is my crock pot with 3 batches of chicken and dumplings. So a triple batch is what I made. Sorry, my light's flickering. Sometimes it does that. Okay, there we go. What was I saying? Yes, so now I know that a triple batch
will almost fill my crock pot to the brim. I'll tell you later how these turned out, but I have high hopes. I think they're going to be great.
Now I'm making some broccoli salad. I trimmed up my broccoli to bite-sized pieces. The recipe calls for red onions, but I didn't have any. So I had some already chopped up green onions. I knew that would be perfect. And then it also doesn't call for cranberries, but I sometimes like to add those in. Now my mayonnaise, I just had enough in the bottom of the jar for this recipe, so I just used the jar to mix the other things in, which is some sugar and some vinegar and a couple tablespoons of bacon fat. And yes, you do add bacon. So you just reserve a couple tablespoons of the bacon fat. And then instead of mixing in my bacon, I just put it on the top and I mixed it all together right prior to serving for dinner. I'll have this recipe down below. And then I'm also making green beans for a side. I'm using this tall can there of just the regular green beans, and then the other ones were seasoned. So I just went ahead and added those two together. I'm now frying up some zucchini. I had one pretty good size zucchini, not overly large, but it was a pretty good size. So I'm just doing an egg wash, and then I have a little bit of flour and panko breadcrumbs in this little mix here, and then I'm just frying those up in the skillet. I also peeled and cooked up a big bunch of carrots, and I'm just putting a honey glaze on top of those along with some butter. I just made the things that sounded good tonight, just country cooking for family night to go along with those chicken and dumplings. I, of course, transferred those to my crock pot, kept those warm, made some mashed potatoes and deviled eggs. See the broccoli salad there. There's the zucchini all fried up, and the green beans and the carrots. We absolutely feasted. Like I said, it's just a good old country meal. And the dumplings were really good. They stayed warm in the crock pot after I got them transferred over. I don't say that this is my preferred method, but it did work. And now I know I can do a triple batch and it'll fill my crock pot to the brim. This was a delicious meal.
Well, hi viewers, and I'm sorry I didn't say anything because I did not know it was on. And this is our food we're going to be making. And if you can't see this, yes, I do drink coffee in the morning. Literally, I just woke up like an hour ago. I'm still in my pajamas.
This was early on a Sunday morning, and I was just up and getting ready to get this together for church, for our fellowship meal. I didn't even have my camera really focused on Henry, and I thought, oh, he's going to talk to us. We need to look at him. Well, so we did a little bit, but I just had morning brain.
We are making French bread pizzas today, and just for a future little tip thing, I am gonna be probably making my own YouTube channel in a couple years or something.
He is the cutest thing. He was just sharing with us all his, hopes and dreams and aspirations at the ripe old age of 7.
And just for another future heads up, I'm gonna be on every Thursday, which is family night. I'm gonna probably be posting my own video where I am gonna be just running around showing everybody what's happening outside at playtime or towards the end of the day when everybody's playing.
I have an idea. We'll call it the Henry Cam.
Yeah, Henry Cam. I'll probably make you guys really sad if I tell you a lot more really exciting stuff, but I just wanted to say that, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up of what I wanted to do with you, the audience, have some more fun. And at the end of this video, make sure to like and subscribe down below because it would really, really help us.
I am pretty sure that he has the YouTube terminology and lingo down better than I do, and I just loved hearing all the stuff he was telling us, and I just did not want to cut any of that out, although he talked this whole entire time, but I didn't want to leave that part out because I thought it was so cute. All right, French bread pizzas. 2 loaves of bread, cut them, long ways, put them on your pan, and you just make them like you make pizza. Whatever your heart is desiring at the moment, put it on there. I was taking this to our church fellowship meal, and so I made one plain pepperoni. I wasn't quite sure what I was doing with this last one here, and Henry said just pepperoni, Gigi. So plain pepperoni and cheese, sausage pepperoni cheese, ham, bacon, and pineapple. And then the other one was more like a loaded pizza that had onion and peppers and both of the meats. And yeah, they just were fun to be creative with. I have a really extra large baking sheet here. They fit perfectly on. And then I just baked them for about 15 minutes before we left for church that morning, so the toppings would kind of set. And then I put them in the oven, or my sweet mother-in-law did for me. She put them in the oven right before time to eat for another 15 minutes or so. And there was not a piece left. These flew right off the pan, and it was just a really fun way and a fun take on pizza. All right, this is another delicious meal, you guys. I'm using this Black Angus cube steak. I am going to use the little container carton that it came in here to do my seasoning. I often do that. Why not? This works perfectly for that. So I'm going in here with some pepper and some garlic powder, and then I am going to use some flour to just lightly dust this. It's not a heavy coating of flour for frying it, but I want to get some on there for the coating. And then I'm just going to fry this up very low and slow in the skillet. You just never know with cube steak if you're going to get a package that's pretty much on the tender side or if it is not. And so this one was pretty good actually. But if you want to make sure you can get it as tender as you can, fry it low and slow. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm using some bacon fat to fry it in. And this is the second meal of the week that Sweet James has come up with. He requested the gyros, so why don't you make the gyros? And then he also said, what about some cubed steak? And he wanted it kind of like country fried steak with eggs. Lots of times when we're at Cracker Barrel or restaurants that serve something like this, he'll get the country fried steak with eggs and gravy for breakfast. So I said, yes, absolutely, I will do it. And so that's what I did. Like I said, low and slow for maximum tenderness. Got my little splatter guard on there. And now it's time to make the gravy. And let me tell you, the drippings in this thing made some tasty gravy. So I just seasoned it up with a little salt and pepper. Put my flour in there, and I got some little bits there that kind of stuck to the bottom, which happens sometimes. And once those come off in the gravy, which they do after you get your liquid in there, they start loosening up. That makes for the most tasty gravy when those bits season it up. All right, I decided to use a can of evaporated milk. That's actually our favorite kind of gravy as opposed to regular milk. The evaporated milk gives it such a great flavor. And then I added about a half a cup of water. Once I got the gravy made, I just nestled those cube steaks back in there, got them all covered with that gravy, and I let those simmer just a little bit longer. Very low heat. So I don't even know if that would be a simmer necessarily, but they just kind of sat there warming, and all he wanted with it was eggs. And I actually had ladies' fellowship this night, so this worked out just perfectly. I made it ahead of time. Look at that. It's not the most beautiful plate, but it sure is a good looking one. I fried his eggs up, country fried steak with gravy. He was a happy camper, and that's what we want in life, right? We're finishing out with an easy one, a go-to, a tried and true nachos. Loaded nachos is what I call them. I'm using a mix of the queso blanco and regular Velveeta. I'm not making a big batch of this time, so I just cubed up a little bit, poured in some salsa. Instead of using like Rotel or something, I had this salsa already open, poured that in, and did this on the stovetop. Sometimes I do it in the microwave, but I did this on the stovetop this day. And so I just got it so creamy and delicious. Oh my word, it was really good. I love the combo of the queso blanco and the Velveeta. It's really good. I fried up a pound of ground beef and seasoned it up with some typical taco seasonings, cumin, chili powder, garlic, that type of thing. And then I just made loaded nachos, and we put all the toppings on it that we enjoyed. And I don't know what made these so good, but they were. James said it was probably the best nachos we'd had in a long time, and we have nachos pretty often because it's just quick and easy, and I always have the stuff for it, and we love them. All right, you guys, I hope you got some inspiration today. If you did, how about hitting the thumbs up button? And if you haven't subscribed, I'd love to have you around here. That way when I'm in the kitchen, you can be here with me. See you next time. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.